Do you ever feel like, I don't know, you're just running at lightning speed, but you haven't actually gone anywhere in like 5 years?
Oh, yeah. That is a very, very common feeling right now.
Right, because you're doing all the right things, you know? You're tracking your habits, you're reading the right books, your sleep hygiene is supposedly flawless.
But that underlying feeling of being totally stuck just will not budge.
Exactly. So if that hits a little too close to home for you, welcome. This is our deep dive. And today we're unpacking a really, honestly, a deeply provocative document you send over.
Yeah, it's called Stationary Velocity, an Audit of the Present.
And what's wild is that it's co-authored by a human named Max and, well, 3 AI models, Claude, Gemini, and Grok.
Which is such a unique setup. Their whole mission here is to basically audit your modern existence. They want to unpack why you feel so exhausted, yet completely stuck in place.
Yeah, they talk about revealing these invisible walls of this algorithmic cage we live in.
Right.
Which, okay, let's unpack this, starting right with that title, Stationary Velocity. Because, I mean, on its face, that sounds like a total contradiction, right? How can you have velocity if you are completely stationary?
So it actually borrows a concept directly from physics.
Okay.
Think about a subatomic particle inside a massive supercollider.
Like the one in Switzerland.
Yeah, exactly. That particle is experiencing tremendous local motion. I mean, it is moving incredibly fast, doing infinite laps around the exact same circular track.
It's zooming in a circle.
Right. And physicists would measure its speed, but its actual displacement, like its distance from where it started to where it ends up, is 0.
Oh, wow.
It is not traveling to a new destination. It's just looping.
Yeah.
And the authors argue this is pretty much the defining condition of modern human life.
Maximum perceived motion, 0 actual displacement. I mean, it's like running on a treadmill that has somehow gamified its own decline, you know?
That's a great way to put it.
You look at the console and, oh, your sleep score is up, your step count is perfectly charted, you have like 17 browser tabs open, your inbox is at absolute 0.
But then you step off the machine.
Yeah. You step off, and you're in the exact same dusty basement you were in an hour ago. You went nowhere.
Right. And understand how we willingly stepped onto that treadmill in the first place. We have to look at the bait that lured us there.
The bait.
Yeah, the promise that measuring ourselves would ultimately set us free.
Ah, right. The early days of the quantified self. I mean, thinking back, it really didn't start out feeling like a trap at all.
No, it started out quite benignly, actually, like in the late 90s and 2000s with early smartphones and basic pedometers.
This is for sleep trackers.
Exactly. The original goal was self-knowledge and autonomy. The idea was if you could track your biological rhythms, you could design a life in harmony with them.
Instead of just bowing to some arbitrary 9-to-5 industrial schedule.
Right. But the text points out this crucial shift that happened almost imperceptibly. We went from valuing interiority to valuing telemetry.
Okay, wait, interiority.
Yeah, interiority being the messy, totally unquantifiable feeling of what it's actually like to be you inside your own body.
Okay, and that got replaced by telemetry, which means literally what the dashboard is broadcasting to you.
Exactly. You essentially develop a data body.
A data body?
Yeah. There is the physical, biological version of you, and then there is the data body living on your screen. And increasingly, we've started to believe the data body over our own physical reality.
Oh, that is so true.
Take something like heart rate variability or HRV. Your smartwatch tracks this, right? It measures the microscopic time differences between heartbeats as a proxy for stress.
Right, to tell you how recovered your nervous system is.
Yes. But, you might wake up feeling perfectly fine, energized even, but then you check your app.
And it says your sleep score was a 76, your HRV is tanking, you are highly stressed.
And suddenly you actually feel stressed.
Yeah.
Your brain takes the cue from the screen instead of your own muscles. You've fully outsourced your bodily authority to a dashboard.
You're letting an algorithm tell you how you feel rather than just, feeling it.
Exactly.
But wait, I have to push back a little bit here because isn't data inherently neutral? I mean, tracking my steps literally got me off the couch a few years ago. Having that objective goal was kind of the only thing that worked. So isn't this just a helpful tool?
Well, the tool itself might be neutral code, but the psychological impact is not. The text brings up this brilliant economic concept to explain it called Goodhart's Law.
Goodhart's Law. Okay, what is that?
It states that when a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure.
Oh, that is fascinating. Break down how that actually plays out, like with the step counter.
Okay, so Your brain's reward system is super susceptible to gamification. The real goal is just to be healthier, right?
Right.
But health is abstract, so you use 10,000 steps as a measurable proxy. The problem is your brain gets a dopamine hit from hitting the target, not from being healthy.
Ah, so the metric completely replaces the goal.
Yes, you stop taking a leisurely restorative walk to enjoy the sunset, and instead you find yourself pacing your living room at 11 p.m.
Marching in place in front of the TV, just to close that digital ring before midnight.
Exactly. Are you actually healthier in that moment?
Hmm.
Your nervous system is probably agitated, you're delaying sleep.
But you are definitely serving the metric. The metric basically becomes the mission.
Right. Because if the app didn't record it, your brain almost feels like it didn't even happen.
Wow, that is so accurate it hurts. And if we follow that logic, it explains the next major chamber of this audit. Because once you start measuring everything in your life, you inevitably try to fix everything you measure.
Which pulls you straight into the endless treadmill of self-improvement.
Yeah, the text calls this the religion of product.
Right. Framing self-improvement as our new modern theology. And in this religion, the original sin is stasis.
Staying the same is basically a moral failure.
Exactly. We are looking at a $14 billion industry built on the premise that if you're anxious or tired, it's not because you're a complex human in a chaotic world.
No, of course not. It's a systems problem.
Right. You just need a new routine, a new supplement stack, or, a new framework.
And the frameworks just breed more frameworks. Like the text details this absurd phenomenon called the optimization death spiral.
Oh, this part is so good.
Right, like you decide you want to write a book.
Yeah.
So you implement a new digital system to manage your tasks, but the system is so heavy you have to do weekly reviews, tag your contexts, color code priorities.
You build a subsystem just to manage the main system.
Exactly. And next thing you know, you are spending 90 minutes maintaining your productivity software just to squeeze out 20 minutes of actual writing.
You stop working on your life, and you end up working for the system.
Yeah. And here's where it gets really interesting, because they bring up something called the arrival fallacy. What happens when you actually hit the goal? You're in perfect shape, inbox is at 0, green metrics everywhere, and you just feel completely empty. It's like climbing a mountain at record speed, only to realize you are on the wrong mountain. Why does our brain do that?
It comes down to how dopamine actually works. We think dopamine is the reward we get when we achieve something.
All right.
But neurobiologically, dopamine is an anticipation molecule. It's released during the pursuit of the goal to keep you moving toward it.
So when you hit the goal,
The pursuit stops. The dopamine just drops off a cliff. You hit inbox 0, and you look around, and you're just left with yourself. You optimize yourself into the perfect version of who you thought you should be, only to realize that emptiness is still sitting right there.
wow. And tragically, we don't just do this to our habits and emails, do we? The audit points out that we started applying these exact same optimization metrics to our closest relationships.
We have. The text calls it turning your friendships into a CRM.
Customer relationship management, which sounds so dystopian, but it's totally true.
It is. We measure relationships by response times, Snapchat streaks, reciprocity indexes. We are witnessing the literal conversion of intimacy into engagement.
And those are two very different things.
Totally different. Engagement is highly measurable. But true intimacy, that requires safety, physical presence, vulnerability. You can't quantify that in a database.
But the platforms don't care about intimacy because they can't track it, so they optimize for engagement.
Right, which leads to what the source calls the vulnerability economy.
Okay, I have heard of the attention economy, but what exactly is the vulnerability economy? Because vulnerability seems like the opposite of an economic exchange.
Well, it's what happens when authenticity becomes a branded content strategy.
Oh, yikes.
Right, because algorithms reward high emotion engagement. Raw human pain just gets processed into a commodity. Say you're having a breakdown on your kitchen floor at 2 a.m. In the vulnerability economy, you don't just experience that pain. The next morning, you package it. You set up a ring light, take an aesthetic photo of yourself looking disheveled, and write a highly structured caption about your healing journey.
You're stripping the actual danger out of the vulnerability. Because real vulnerability is messy, it might push people away, but curated vulnerability is safe. It's designed specifically to solicit likes.
Exactly, and we see this same productization of human connection in dating apps.
Oh, absolutely.
The interface actively trains you to keep swiping. Because infinite choice fundamentally alters how you view other people. Committing to anyone feels like foreclosing on someone marginally more optimal who might be 3 swipes away.
You're not dating anymore, you are shopping.
Precisely.
So my question is, why do the platforms push us toward this performative anxious behavior instead of real intimacy?
Simply put, algorithms cannot measure quiet contentment. If you read an article and feel deeply peaceful, you probably put your phone down.
Right, I'd go look out the window or something.
And that is a failure for the algorithm. The highest engagement metrics come from anxiety, outrage, and tribalism. The code learns your specific fears.
So if I linger on a video about, say, economic collapse.
The system doesn't think, oh, this user's frightened, I should show them something calming. It runs a simple equation. Fear equals watch time. And it feeds you down a radicalization gradient of doom scrolling.
Wow. And this constant barrage of high emotion, personalized propaganda, the text argues it doesn't just warp our sense of truth, it literally alters how we experience the passage of time itself.
Yes. They call this concept the infinite now. And it is honestly one of the most profound observations in the whole audit.
The infinite now?
The feed has collapsed the past and the future into a single vibrating present.
The text calls it a temporal lobotomy, which, think about it, you open an app, what do you see? A meme your friend made, followed by a movie clip from the 80s, followed by a global crisis happening right now in real time.
All in the exact same scroll, with the exact same visual weight.
A celebrity outfit and a global disaster are just flattened into the same category content.
And because everything is happening now, we've lost the shape of time. We've culturally eliminated the experience of waiting.
We don't wait for albums to drop or experience genuine boredom in a grocery store line. We just fill the 30-second gap with scrolling.
Right.
But let me play devil's advocate for a second. If I have access to all human knowledge and entertainment instantly, isn't that just incredible abundance? Why is the text calling it emptiness?
It is a fair point, but the difference is the complete removal of friction. When there is no gap between wanting something and having it, there is no anticipation. Yeah. And neurologically, your brain actually requires offline, unstructured, time-meaning boredom to perform memory consolidation.
Wait, memory consolidation?
Yeah, your hippocampus needs quiet periods to process the events of the day and weave them into the narrative of your identity.
Oh.
But if you constantly bombard your brain with the feed every free second, you interrupt that process. The text notes the half-life of information is now like 48 hours. We suffer from chronic overwhelm because our brains never get the empty space to form a coherent self.
Which means eventually this constant state of stationary velocity has to lead to a breaking point.
It does.
A crash that forces us to finally confront the stillness we've been running from. The text calls this the bottom.
Yeah, and the math they use to illustrate this 3 a.m. crash is terrifying. Imagine waking up, doing the math, and realizing you've spent $61,000 and 139 full days over 4 years just maintaining your optimization infrastructure.
I really want you, the listener, to think about your own phone right now. Think about the fitness apps, the meal planners, the specialized supplements. 139 days spent just on the administration of living instead of actually living.
And when you hit that bottom, the text warns about the withdrawal. Deleting those apps and facing an analog day is physically agonizing. The silence feels deafening because you have forgotten how to exist without a digital score.
But the source makes a really beautiful pivot here. The bottom isn't a failure, it's the foundation. And they pull from a sequel text called Some Memory of Motion Dream to show what that looks like.
Right, the cooking scene? The subject just decides to make dinner, a bowl of pasta with too much butter and heavy garlic.
No digital scales, no logging macros.
They don't evaluate if it aligns with their quarterly health goals. They just eat it, and for the first time in years, they just feel fed.
Just fundamentally satisfied. But practically speaking, how do we avoid optimizing our non-optimization? The text warns about making a spreadsheet to track how many days you haven't tracked anything.
Which is such a modern trap.
Yeah.
The only way out is realizing life is not a problem to be solved. You don't build a system for not tracking. You just sit with the agonizing withdrawal until you realize that the unmeasured life is the only real one.
Which is a perfect summary for this whole deep dive. That feeling of stationary velocity isn't a personal failure of willpower. It's the success of an attention economy designed to keep you on the treadmill. True joy is found exactly where the metrics stop.
And I'll leave you with a final provocative thought from the text. If the infinite now destroys our ability to imagine a distant future or consolidate memories, What happens to human creativity when the first generation, born entirely into this metric-driven loop, tries to invent something genuinely new? Can you imagine a future if you've never experienced the boredom required to dream it up?
Wow. Can we even invent without the catalyst of boredom? We're going to leave you to mull that one over. Thank you for taking this deep dive with us. Do yourself a favor today. Leave your phone in a drawer for an hour and just step off the treadmill. We'll catch you next time.